Okay, I'm just gonna have my tea and talk a little bit about the divorce issue. I actually talked about this earlier today. I want to add a few more things based off of this video. Basically, it says that Palace revealed that Has and Meg their divorce after secret deal, and he asked Charles to send him good lawyers. Let's take a listen at this video.
Palace reveals that Harry and Meg divorce after secret deal end. He asked Charles to send him good lawyers. King Charles's former butler has claimed it's very possible that Prince Harry will eventually move back to the UK, despite his bitter split from the British royal family. Grant Harold, who worked as Charles's butler from 2004 to 2011 when he was Prince of Wales, insists a return to Harry's home soil is a likely move for the exiled royal in the future. Meanwhile, a source close to the palace also said that Prince Harry contacted King Charles about his plans to return to England in the future, begging his father to give him a chance to withdraw, but he's currently on a divorce deal with Meghan. This isn't the ideal time for Harry to return to his home country, as his contract with Meghan hasn't ended yet. They will divorce eventually, but only after a few more years of toughing it out to sell their love story for Netflix. They're having problems. A divorce is absolutely the best thing that could happen to him. Harry hopes that King Charles has some good lawyers ready to swoop in. It comes as Princess Diana's former butler Paul Burrell has said that Prince Harry has finally woken up to the truth about his wife Meghan Markle. He has no doubt the Duke and Duchess of Sussex will eventually separate and Harry will return to the UK. Paul Burrell agreed that Harry's own childhood is a broken marriage and it would make him more determined to keep the family together for as long as he can.
Yep.
Burrell said, "Am I the only person in the UK that's thinking, has Harry finally woken up to the truth? Has he finally seen the truth of what his wife's doing and that he's been brainwashed and mesmerised by her beauty or something? Because we all know that, but he doesn't seem to see it. I personally know Harry and I think he's always wanted to be a father. He's always wanted children. I think this element of splitting from his family right now is a little premature. I think he'd want to stay in that driving seat to watch his children grow. Because if he left this relationship now, he'd lose his children, because she'd keep them in America, and he wouldn't get to see them." Burrell, who Diana once described as the only man she ever trusted, predicted Harry would return to the UK, and said both his family and the British public would welcome him home. If Harry wants to return and is willing to admit some of his errors and apologise, his family would probably welcome him and do what they can to help.
I mean, of course, he will always lean back on something. Harry is never independent. Every time something happens, he has a backup. He has somebody to lean onto. And this is exactly why he married Meghan. Because when he was living in the palace with his family members, he didn't find that person who would babysit him, pretty much. I mean, the reason he got angry at William and Catherine eventually was because they refused to babysit Harry. Rather, they wanted him to grow up. And this is why William said the hard truth, which is that you need to take your time before you make any decision about Duchess of Sausages. But lo and behold, what Harry did, he freaked out. At that point, obviously, he had the support and backup from this evil woman, Duchess of Sausages, so he was in no need of his brother and sister-in-law. He rushed into this relationship the moment he got resistance from his family. I mean, not quite resistance, but they wanted him to consider all the options. Remember, this is a guy who never grew up since he was a child. His mother, he's always talking about the mother. He's absolutely not reconcilable with his past, and all of these things are because of lack in maturity. Now he is leaning on Prince Charles, on his family members. I would not be surprised if Charles is gonna go down to that path, get involved in this messy divorce, and help Harry with a lawyer. Of course, you can argue because he's the father, he should do that. But at the same time, I'm sure there are a lot of other people there who would oppose that, who would say, no, King Charles, don't do this, because remember what he did was horrendous, and he might do it again in the future with some other lady. And this cycle, this reputation will continue on because this man, he simply cannot grow up. We will find out. The question will always remain this: Would the palace back him up? Would somebody from the palace, that would also include his own brother and sister-in-law, help him getting rid of Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, from his life? That is something we'll find out very soon. But right now, the question is going to be not resolved or not answered, simply because there are a lot of variables, there are a lot of things that will have to be taken into account by not just the monarchy, but also his own father, his brother, and people who are very, very close. And so we'll see that happening in the coming days.
Help him. The public would have to be eased into accepting him, with some form of redemption narrative and a few years of him doing charitable work. The real question is whether Harry would be willing to admit his errors, apologise, etc., and do the work to be accepted by his family and the public. Elsewhere, royal expert Angela Levin claims isolated Prince Harry is being abandoned by his planner and plotter wife Meghan Markle, who's absolutely separating from him. The author of Harry, a biography, told GB News host Dan Wooten the Duke of Sussex is not even in the family house anymore. Mr. Wooten noted that the Duchess of Delusion has been showing a notable lack of public support for a ginger-winger husband recently.
Absolutely, he is not getting any support from her. Sure, the next obvious move from Harry would be to lean on to something else, namely his own father. I mean, this is the last hope he has. As long as his father is alive, he will get some help from the monarchy. The moment his father is gone, or he's no longer the king, whatever happens in the future, he will be in big, big trouble. And that will come not only from the Duchess of Sausages, but those problems will also come from every direction. His own brother, his sister-in-law, a lot of these people will treat him really harshly, and he should be, because otherwise, looks like to me that is going to be the only way you can ask him to grow up, and that would be through making it very hard for him and force him to accept reality, to live in reality, as this person he described, Duke of Delusion. This is not something he can afford for the rest of his life. But again, would he grow up? That's the question. To my understanding, he would not grow up until he really faces the reality and gets separated from his kids. The moment that happens, then I think he will take things very, very seriously, because life will no longer be just a game for him. Right now, he gets everything he wants. When he said Meghan gets what Meghan wants, it was actually about him, I think, to an extent, that I get what I want. So once that happens, separation, custody battle, all of this reality will hit him really hard. I think that's when he will really have no other option but to wake up and act maturely. Thank you for watching. See you the next one.